behind, but don't worry, they are on their way. They had to stop to use the bathroom, as we are humans. So they'll be over in just a few seconds, guys, don't worry about that. But in the meantime, those that have just joined us, welcome. This is a panel for Billy West, Tom Kenny, and George Lowe. They are fantastic people, and if you are wanting to ask them some questions, you're more than welcome to. We have a microphone in the center aisle right over here. If you're wanting to ask a question, go ahead and think of those now, and then you'll be able to line up right here in the center and be able to ask them that question whenever we prompt you to ask. So you're more than welcome to start lining up now if you'd like. Go ahead and start doing that. If you're not up, go ahead and take a knee so that way you don't actually ruin the sideline for anybody that's sitting down currently, so that way they can still see the wonderful stage and see their wonderful faces. So fantastic. Fantastic, and welcome everyone. We'll be getting going in just a second, but since we're waiting and stuff, I wanted to try something out. Who here, we all said earlier, you know, I see some SpongeBob SquarePants shirts and sweaters and stuff. Let's sing SpongeBob SquarePants like the starting of it. Anybody want to do that? You guys just did?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it. So soupy, so soupy. Let's do it again. No? Okay, fine. There's two. Alright, fine, I'll just sing it with you, bud. It'll just be me and him. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Don't be a jerk. Who lives in a pineapple? I don't remember the rest of the words. Now you see, you messed me up. What's your name? What's your name? So let's try and sing the Futurama theme song, guys. Here we go. Here we go. There's a few people like there's the lyrics to the Futurama. Fantastic. The Joker's here. Fantastic. Awesome. We should have them here in just a few seconds. Does anybody know the Space Ghost theme song?
Space Ghost.
Space Ghost. That's about it. Fantastic. Who here is ready and excited? For a second. I said who's here and excited? Fantastic. Soyberg is here, everyone. Soyberg, take a scuttle for a second. Take a scuttle. An applause. It's fantastic. An applause. Thank you. I'll be here to the end of this panel. Cool. Fantastic. Oh, dang, I thought he was clapping for me. Cool, so we're gonna get started here in just a few minutes. We're just waiting on the guys to come on over. So yeah, if you are lining up, you have questions, please feel free to line up in the center aisle where we will choose you to ask some questions to the wonderful panelists that will be joining us here in just a few seconds. And fantastic, I just got the thumbs up. So ladies and gentlemen, I need you guys to get your hands going and your screams going as we welcome to the stage, Billy West.
Welcome. Sorry, I couldn't tell if they announced my name or not, and I didn't want to come out on Billy's intro.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't see you guys.
I don't think there's one person that would be, miffed by that.
That Tom Kenny's such a jerk. Hi, guys.
Hey, way over there.
They wanted to be alone.
Welcome, guys.
Hi, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Sorry, but it was getting through the crowds was laborious.
They made us wash dishes in the kitchen. It was terrible.
That's the first time I ever saw a human riptide.
I like washing dishes.
And Billy and I had to go to room 680 with some sort of food.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
You guys got
faithfully announced that number.
That lady was in The Shining with no back.
Can I just have that over there on the fan?
We were singing, what were we singing? Motown in the golf
Yeah,
cart?
in the go-kart, yeah.
It's all right.
Ready.
There's a train coming.
You don't need no ticket. You just get on.
Somehow we were talking about Curtis Mayfield the impressions.
Look for our album coming out next summer, The Three Caucasians.
Tell me, there's nothing like a
Melatonin-free soul music.
Three aging white men.
What else you
Motown
know?
Alive.
What else you know?
Oh Lord, what is that? You just feel like this is a runaway train.
Hey, I'm okay. I'm just happy to be here. You guys are awesome.
And now our moderator, the more bearded man, trying to hold on.
Three pretty women standing in line. That's your song.
Yeah, that's right, man's boy.
Come on, Tom.
I'm a man. I spell M-A-Q.
Doesn't man's well. I'm a dyslexic man. I spell Q-R-Z.
Pardon us, but
You guys are good. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much
even
for
if
being
there was
here.
nobody here, we would just sit here and do this.
I know. This is what our sessions are like until somebody goes, guys. We only have an hour left. Come on.
Wait a minute, I'm gonna ruin it
We're
again.
like, I just listened to that Motown song. You know, it's like, oh, really? Wait, I got it on YouTube. And you play it because you want to turn
Get
somebody
ready,
on.
get ready, here we go.
Papa was a rolling stone.
Wherever he laid his hat was his home.
All he left us was alone. It was a college song.
Rolling stone.
Yes.
Wherever he laid his hat was his home.
I don't know this one.
All he left was alone.
I gotta pull up the lyrics on this one.
Papa,
I just know the chorus.
I had two outside children.
Remember
That's why I
Papa?
Because that ain't right.
There's some bad talk going around town.
Fantastic. We're gonna have to get to some questions, guys. This was awesome, dude.
I think we gotta go right to the Q&A.
Oh, by the way, this was
coming out the
if you guys came here thinking this was a Q&A, this is actually just them starting a new band, the boy bands we were talking about earlier. Fantastic. Welcome, guys. Give it up one more time for Tom Kenny, George Lowe. We're really excited that you guys are here. Thank you guys for taking the time to come out and do this panel. My name
We're
is
10 minutes late, that's why we did the dog and pony show there for a few minutes.
Oh, I loved it. I would never stop that. That was fantastic.
Thanks for moderating that with me.
Of course, thank you for being. Thanks for allowing me to. We have some wonderful people that would like to ask you guys some questions. If you guys are open to that,
Sure.
It's fantastic. Right here, go ahead. What you guys got?
I have a question and a request for Tom.
Uh-oh.
The question is for
Tom
all.
blew my ear out doing this Eartha Kitt in the golf cart.
The question is for all of you, and it's what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you as a voice actor?
The most embarrassing thing that's happened as a voice actor? Wow, you know, the great thing about voice acting is that, like, the embarrassing moments, what happens in the booth stays in the booth, you know? Like you can look as stupid and, like, there's no, unless you actually lose control of your bowels or something during the session, which thankfully probably shouldn't start happening for at least another 2 to 3 years. I've probably got another 2 to 3 years. The funny I can't think of any like really super embarrassing moments that have happened, but like sometimes, like especially when the celebrities come in, like they're not used to our brand of craziness, you know what I mean? Like so sometimes like they don't know you're joking around. So when George Takei did Ricardio on Adventure Time, you know he's like that walking heart guy. On Adventure Time, right? and he was like, the Ricardio was like an acolyte of the ice cream that got out of control or whatever. But George Takei was there, and he was going, he was reading it. He goes, "This script is crazy. I can't make heads or tails out of this." And I said, yeah. This was early on in Adventure Time, and I said, well, you know, George, it's kind of a crazy show. It's kind of all over the place. It's very elliptical, you know, kind of like Yellow Submarine or something. There's not, you know, it's supposed to be kind of crazy and all over the place. And I said, it's really getting kind of a cult following. I don't know if you've ever been on a show that has a cult following before. And he just looked at me like I was the dumbest idiot in the world. He said, "What?" And I said, "I don't know if you've ever been on a show that has a cult following or not." But he goes, "Yes, I think I know a thing or two about that." And he just looked around like, "Who is this jackass?" Doesn't know that I was on Star Trek. So that was kind of embarrassing, because then you sort of have to reverse engineer and go, "Oh, by the way, 20 minutes ago, I was joking." Yeah, right. Then it's too much work, you know, too much time has gone by and the moment's gone by.
You just reminded me of something. I had a very awkward encounter. I guess you could count it as part of the voiceover world with William Shatner. I knew him a little bit from the Stern Show. I used to work on the Howard Stern Show, and I called him as George Takei on the air while he's trying to, you know, and I was like, "That's not how it went to be." And he goes, "Georgie." Georgie. You know, that nice Shatner.
Yes, super lugubrious.
Yeah, so I said, "Mr. Shatner," and he went, "Mr. West." And I said, "Listen, you know, I know, you probably know why I'm calling, is because the writers on the show, I know we're trying to get you on the show." They thought that I knew him, so they said, "Can you call for us?" So I called, and he's just sitting there, and he's going, and I'm telling him, I said, "The show has more layers than an onion, and it's in no way going to make fun or parody Star Trek in that way that most people do." He said, "Well, I have to think about it." And then he goes, I said, "No, it's really, these guys respect you. We all love you and respect you, and I'm not kidding you." And he goes, "But did you read the script?" And that meant he didn't.
Yeah, he's trolling. He's trolling for info.
Yeah, he wants me to tell him so he can know. And then he was all like, you know, "Well, I'm glad that you read the script." You know, that kind of, like, if you're anything like me, you would read that script. When I get off the phone, I should have said, "Why is that big S on your gate?" "Well, it stands for Satan." Satan and I meet every Thursday. You know, my wife, I wasn't having a good time with her, and, "Well, Bill, I can take care of that for you." Satan, welcome. And he, like, suddenly, his wife is gone. He's only the host of, what, Rescue 911 or something like that. And he didn't know what to do when she was in the pool flapping around.
I've had good experiences with Shatner. I want some of that Tom Kenny energy. I want some Tom Kenny energy.
My bad. One experience with Takei, Orlando radio, like 1985. I didn't name the station BJ 105. Write your own. But he came in, and I had written a thing, and he actually played along. He was completely hip to being Sulu. The septic tanks had backed up on the Enterprise, and we had to transport it all into the radio station. And he was totally down, and he was like, "Preparing to transport bio-waste."
This happens on my ship.
It's awesome.
My ship.
It's awesome.
"The septic tanks are backed up. What are we going to do? Let's just spot." "Captain, if I may make a suggestion."
So I guess all of our embarrassing moments are weird encounters with celebrities.
People are after
That's sort of, yeah. Exactly.
It almost all sounds like William Shatner.
But you're
It's just William Shatner.
All roads lead to Shatner.
What Tommy said, you know, it's like one of them comes in and you have to like the guy, hopefully, because if it's some, you know, bedhead that just found success last Thursday and he's riding on top of the world and he comes in and sits down and he slowly begins to realize that one of these things is not like the other. You know, and then they go, "I had no idea. I had no idea." And I said, "Each one of these people does probably upwards of 70 voices, you know, and he says, I don't know, man. And then they'll interview him. They'll say, we caught up with Johnny Bedhead today, and, you know, well, animation is a lot tougher than you think it is. You know, we don't have the luxury of bringing who and exactly what we are to a cartoon and use the same voice every time. You know, so the bar is always up here when I'm with my friends working, and then one celeb comes in, it's clonk, you know, falls back on the floor.
And this weekend the bar is in the lobby of the Marriott.
Yes, I think I might have seen you.
Yeah.
Every time I go to this bar, I see you. You know, I think you have a problem.
I'm hooked on coffee.
Thank you. And anything else?
I have a friend who really wanted to be here today, and she couldn't make it. So if you could say something in the SpongeBob voice for me?
Sure. What's her name?
Her name is Elena, and I'd like you to say, "Hi, Elena. I wish you could be here."
We'll have to have your credit card first. If you'll just hand me your American Express, I'll take care of Tom.
For 3 easy payments of $24.99.
There's still more.
Sure, Elena, you got it.
Are we taping now?
Yes.
Oh, hey Elena, it's Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants. Yes, this is my real voice. I talk like this all the time. Gary's here too. We just want to say that me and Billy West and George Lowe and all of these people wish you were here. Elena! Elena!
You kept that rolling with the applause. You didn't choke as soon as everybody chimed in, right? You get the
Wait a minute, your battery went out. Can we get another one, Tom?
Thank you
In
so much.
you're very welcome. In 2015, no one ever stopped shooting.
Right? It's just like
Are you talking about film?
everything's being taken.
Yeah, people taping each other, taping someone.
Especially the cops in Baltimore.
Forget about it.
This portion of our show is brought to you by lack of training in the police academy. Sign up now.
It's Michael Winslow. Right here.
I'm trying not to throw up, so.
Uh-oh, she picked up a virus.
You're doing great so far. Mission accomplished.
Thank you, yeah.
You are birth-free.
Working on it.
You are birth-free up to this point.
I wanted to say thank you first, that you all have been such a huge and don't want to cry, huge and important integral part of my childhood and now into my adulthood, so thank you. And I'm sure everyone here, you know, feels similarly. So.
It's nice to hear people say that, you know, because when you're doing these jobs, you're not really thinking of the ripple effect that something you did all these years ago. You know, you're just trying to stay employed as an actor, and then, you know, I just started doing cons and stuff. So, you know, when you realize the ripple effect that this stuff has had on people, you know, it's kind of a nice byproduct of like this job you do. And also, you know, we all started out as fans of stuff when we were kids, so it's nice to, you know, in some way maybe the stuff you did that we're doing is kind of like the stuff that blew our minds when we were kids, and you know what I mean. It's really nice to pay it forward, hopefully, and be part of this cool chain that's happening.
But you have to think twice about meeting like one of your heroes or your idol, because it can go both ways. It can go either way.
Oh, I hate all of you now, so.
So I didn't give you quite a reason yet.
Billy's like, beware of Tom, he's a real jerk.
You meet your idol and you almost think that maybe they know your name because everything they did was like a personal love letter to you. That's how you felt. And then they just blow you off and it's like, I can't believe that. So my adulation and my undying love for somebody would turn into abject hatred suddenly. You hurt me. You've wronged me.
I've got a picture in my collection of all my crap when I'm being a fanboy. We had Chuck Lorre on years ago in Atlanta, and the nicest guy. I don't know if you have Chuck Lorre horror stories, but
I don't.
Just the nicest guy, and he told me exactly what Billy just said. He grew up idolizing Gene Rayburn, and he ran up to him in
match game
one time, and he was, you know, chicken blank. Love Gene Rayburn. He goes running at Gene, hi, Chuck Lorre. I mean, he was already famous. He was already doing game shows and stuff, and I think, God help him, he gave up Wheel of Fortune like the year that he met Gene Rayburn. He went up to Gene Rayburn in the airport and said, I love you, I idolize you, you're the reason I wanted to be in television. And Gene Rayburn was like, and walked off. And to this day, I'll post it, I
Are you
swear.
talking about Chuck Lorre?
Chuck Lorre loved Rayburn, idolized
Okay.
him. That's why he wanted to be in television.
Chuck-
Rayburn blew him off. He was
Chuck
like,
had a hit record for a while. He had a hit record.
Yeah,
No, not Chuck Lorre.
you're taking a Wayne Martindale.
Martindale.
Deck your cards.
Screw that. Rewind.
I've got a great picture of Chuck Lorre holding
On the
sign that
dot
says Gene
label.
Rayburn
On the
sucks.
dot label.
What was your question?
Oh yeah, actually I had one of these.
Oh yeah.
This
You
question
still haven't found it.
Yeah, I know.
That's good.
I'm working on it still. This question is for Tom. Having worked with people like Roger and Clancy on SpongeBob and other people like Bob Odenkirk and David Cross, who has or who do you think could tell the dirtiest joke and why?
Wow.
Or who's the more vulgar group of people?
Boy, that has to go to many of the people on Mr. Show. Brian Hussein could really get down there. Yeah, Cross. I don't know about dirty, but Cross will go to very dark places with his wisecracks and humor, like that. Not so much Odenkirk. Odenkirk's like super polite, but Cross will go to like dark places, and certain people like Billy will do that. Yeah, Billy will go to places that I might think about, but I would never say out loud. So I sort of like, sort of like being a polite, suburban Catholic boy. I kind of live vicariously through the guys that don't have as much of a self-imposed filter.
I did. I was an altar boy.
I wish I didn't have the filter that I do sometimes, But yeah, so yeah, I'd say Cross. Billy is right up there.
Yeah, what?
I would say you're right up there with people who can go to places that are intensely dark
Let me illustrate.
in a humorous way.
Let me illustrate.
Oh God,
It's the cleanest dirty joke in the world. Did you hear about the guy that couldn't come? We had to go get him.
Thank you.
Right on the edge, Tom. Tell me.
right on the edge there. I was like, I'm always like simultaneously hoping that something messed up will happen, and then hoping it won't.
Hi, what's your name?
Hi. So, I know it may be a little different nowadays in today's.
Looks like Phil Donahue from here.
Thank you.
Sex for chickens, yes, man, go ahead.
You have that FM voice, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Coming up, Rita.
I guess that kind of relates to my question. Is that when you guys were getting started, I'm sure that you came across a lot of challenges. And my question is, what is one of the biggest challenges that you faced while trying to become successful?
Tom Cannon.
Paying for food and gas.
And what advice would you give to fledgling voice actors nowadays? And I know the industry may be a little different nowadays as it was when you guys were first getting started, but...
Tag team.
Sure. I would say like the biggest challenge is staying in the game when people are constantly telling you no. Being in voiceover is really fun, and once you're in there and they find out that you're versatile and not a jerk. If you're fairly versatile and not a pain in the neck, you work a fair amount, once you get in. But like getting in is the hard part. So it's that cliche of like having doors slammed. People keep telling you no, you audition a million times, you never hear anything, and then you start to doubt yourself because you don't have a track record to go, no, I am good at this. You're going, maybe I do suck. I don't know. So it's like getting through that and transitioning through that until you have a track record. That's where a lot of attrition happens with not just voice actors, but I think artists of all kinds. You just kind of, it can be kind of crushing, and if you don't stay in the game, then you're not there for the good. If you don't hang through the crappy part, you're not there for the good part when it happens. So to me, that I think is the biggest challenge. And what I tell people when they go, oh, I'm thinking about being a voice actor, I'm like, prepare to have doors slammed in your face, or even worse, not hear anything. Like you kind of send tapes out and you audition for stuff and you go, you know, nobody tells you, hey, if only you had done this or this, you would have gotten the part. Like you just don't hear anything. So you're like, you know, it's kind of like you know, you're just like dropping something to the Grand Canyon. You never really hear it land. You know, so I think that is, to me, that was the hardest part. And you know, we still audition all the time. We talked about this at the panel yesterday. We still audition for stuff, all of us, every day, and don't get most of it. But at least if you know that you've done stuff, you have like self-confidence that you don't have at the beginning before you've done anything. So, you know, it's the old hang in there baby kitten poster advice, you know. It's kind of trite and lame, but it's the truth.
It's what Tom says exactly. It's being, in my case, blockheaded enough just to keep going, finding another way to reinvent. I did news for 6 months, one of the worst experiences of my life, because they would get upset with you about little things like, you know, do you know the difference between a hurricane warning and a hurricane watch? And it's like, oh, I didn't mean to make that mistake. You know, and I had like a whole town hunkering down because I said it wrong. Everybody had gone into the kitchen pantry, little sorbets, and were in hiding because I got that wrong. So luckily for me, I'm already in the building. I was able to go down the hall, and I would always just, in breaks, before another news break or before going out in the car to do a story, thank God news only 6 months, but they would send me on the worst possible thing. And I came in one day, I didn't know the broadcast trick of putting jeans on with the jacket. I had hair then. I see Billy looking at me like, you on television? I'm kidding.
I get lost in your voice. I feel like I'm in the middle of the 11 o'clock.
You know, can we just, like, can we legally adopt each other?
We really are, I guess.
But I get out and they've got me in a phosphate thing. Like, you know, you're hip deep in crap. And I'm standing there in a new suit, new shoes, and I'm going, what in the hell am I doing? Luckily, I came back that way, and all the people in PM Magazine felt sorry. So it's just this constant reinvention, anything that'll get you in a door. And I tell people who want to do it, well, go to your local radio station. Tell them you'll hang banners. Tell them you'll go to the bar and, you know, make sure the vomit is mopped up so the DJ doesn't slip in it or whatever. In my case, I got electrocuted at one of those things, honest to God. It was a rainstorm and the jackass technician ran an ungrounded mic cable under the floor mat at the grocery where the automatic doors open up. So I'm there 1 minute, you know, giving away free tickets to Argent, and the next thing I know, I'm in a hospital bed with some Malaysian doctor coming in and going, well, I'm just going to check your feet now to see if there are any exit burns.
Was it Judge Takei?
Dr. Takei will see you now.
You just keep going, right? So in the magazine, you know, that didn't work out, you go somewhere else, and oh, I can do that. You lie your ass off about that, too. I can do that.
Look at the big producers that lied their asses off to become what they were. Wasn't John Peters a hairdresser?
Yes, he was the most powerful hairdresser in Hollywood, they used to call him, yeah.
Yes, and then he became a huge producer.
Yeah.
And he faked his resume and everything.
But, you know, I mean, I guess not to such a giant degree, but probably all of us, like, you know, I always tell people, I have never regretted ever the many times that I have said I know how to do something that I don't know how to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like not just voiceover, but anytime when they go, hey, do you know how to, have you ever had any experience with that? Yes. You know, and then you just kind of figure it out, you know, and then I still do that with accents and stuff like that, where they go, they'll ask you, do you know how to do like a Zimbabwean accent? I go, oh yeah. They go, because we got something coming up where we're gonna need like a pretty accurate Zimbabwean accent or, you know, whatever.
But you specialize in Chad accents.
Jeremy accents. But then you go, you know, because you go, okay, I can always go on YouTube and look at some stuff in Woodshed with it, but like, you know, but even before I was a voice actor, like half the jobs that I did were totally the result of me telling somebody that I could do something I didn't know how to do, and then scrambling and figuring out how to do it on the fly. And, you know, I think a lot of people that I know that have done okay for themselves have that gene. You know, it's sort of a mixture of like just foolhardiness and
people pleaser,
insanity, and being a people pleaser. Yeah, but also probably hubris and overconfidence too helps.
You know, I was gonna bring it up. I have some advice. I'll preface it by saying, You know, if you can do something cool when you're a young guy or a kid or something, and you work on it, and you say to yourself, wait till my friends check this. Wait till they hear this, they're gonna go nutty just like I did when I figured it out or I got inspiration from somewhere. And you come to these guys and you do the thing and they totally ignore you. You know, and I used to go, maybe I gotta be better. Maybe I just am not, you know, having any emotional resonance with these guys. And I'd go back and I should say, I guess superlative is the bar you aim for, having just learned the word that week. And all of a sudden, you know, it's like I got out of the town and somebody once said to me, do you know why nobody gave a damn about what you did or at least pretended to? I said, you mean it wasn't me? He goes, no, it's them, because you are going to be a constant and painful reminder of what they will never, ever be able to do. And that doesn't feel too good, you know? And then you're going to go into a business of 95% unemployment, and your job is looking for work. But, the guy that's standing in the doorway, if you're in an audition, the guy who keeps opening the door goes, you know, Tommy, you come in. That man at the door isn't keeping you out. He doesn't have it in for you. This guy is praying that you're the guy, because it'll make his job a whole lot easier.
Yeah, that's a good call.
And that's the thing.
It's not adversarial. It's not an adversarial relationship.
You were asked to be there at an audition. You didn't just invite yourself to the party. And go to where, if you're starting now, go to where they need somebody who does voices. Like there's always these screwball morning shows that need a voice guy. And if you're confident enough and you've got the goods and you believe that, just make it a date with the program director at the radio station and ask him if you can come by and talk to him about, you know, hey, I got a lot to offer. That's how I felt.
Make another point.
But I always felt like, you know, I wanted to come off as a guy who could bring something to the table, not take away. You know, I didn't know you could be famous. I didn't know you could be rich. You know, my heroes weren't celebrities. You know, they were like architects and painters and sculptors and guys who invented cures for diseases, you know, and not celebrities. I just don't have any big hero worship in that department. But just remember about staying inspired. Stay inspired. You know, if you find yourself like starting to circle the drain emotionally or whatever, go out and look at things you never saw before. Listen to stuff that you never heard before. Go back and listen to some old cool records, you know, and it'll just turn it inside out, and you'll feel inspired.
Stroller clapping. It's like 3 years old. Yeah, cool birds. I'll try to find some of those. Okay, yeah.
Free bird!
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 10 more minutes left in this panel, guys. 10 more minutes, so we're going to get a couple more questions in, hopefully. Right here, what's your name?
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question for Tom.
Yes, ma'am.
One of my favorite episodes of SpongeBob is the Secret Box episode. And
Yes.
I've got to ask, what did SpongeBob do at the Christmas party?
Oh yeah, that's an episode where there's supposedly a photo of SpongeBob at a Christmas party that is being kept under lock and key. I don't know. You know, I gotta say, I don't know that the writers ever came up with it. I guess it's it's kind of whatever you want it to be. I guess. I'm guessing since it's SpongeBob, it's probably something just goofy and innocent. But I don't think it's anything like Kardashian-esque. But I'm sure there's probably fan art.
Mom.
I'm guessing there's probably fan art on Tumblr that with people's interpretations.
What? This swamp noise just came shooting out of there before I killed it. Maybe it's me.
So I guess it's whatever you want it to be, man.
What do you think SpongeBob, like, what do you think he would have done that was so discriminating that he didn't even want anyone to see?
Yeah, I'm guessing, like I said, with SpongeBob, I can't even, something goofy and innocent that maybe he's personally embarrassed about. I don't know, like SpongeBob is so, such an innocent character, you know what I mean? Like I can't see him, I don't think there's anything horrific that he would do. I don't know. But I also think that SpongeBob is a character that's incapable of being embarrassed by anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what's confusing about that episode to me is like SpongeBob is so into letting his freak flag fly that he like, you know, what would embarrass him? He has no self-consciousness whatsoever. So yeah, that's a great question, and I cannot answer it. I'm so sorry.
You stumped it. Awesome. Thank you so much for your question. Right here next in line.
Hey, Fry's here. Hey, man. I'm your mother Yancy.
Do you know where that came from, that look? You have any idea?
No.
I didn't know either, so don't feel bad.
I
There
have
was
a
a movie
question
in the
for-
50s. Wait.
I have a question for you.
I work alone. Wait, I just wanted to tell you something real quick, just for your information. There was a movie in the 50s called Rebel Without a Cause, and it had James Dean in it. He wore a red cloth jacket, white t-shirt, and they were doing sort of a noblesse oblige, whatever you want to call it, to, why did I say that? I feel like it's good. But that's, you know, think of it for what it's worth. It was a lousy explanation. It wasn't stealing in the first place.
It's like, I have a question.
No, I'm trying to teach you that life is harder than you think.
Can I say Harar Vakui so I'll sound smart like Billy?
No, he knows. He's cool because we met earlier and we had the same conversation. He was going,
What's your question?
I just wanted to say.
You know what
I have
happened
a question.
I'm so sorry. Forgive me.
Who was your favorite celebrity to work with?
Which one?
Billy.
Bill.
You want Billy. You want Billy. You don't care about who mine is.
I'm sorry, I thought we were sharing.
Both.
The favorite celebrity we work with?
Yes.
Like celebrity that he's ever worked with, you mean? Like who is the greatest?
Guest
Somebody that's
star.
famous?
Like favorite, like funnest,
Yeah.
nicest,
I'll
whatever?
tell you. It was Pam Anderson.
For two reasons. Very good reasons that I like to work with Pam Anderson.
Yo, dog.
Too soon. Too soon.
Damn.
So was that real? You liked working with
Oh
Pam?
yeah, she played a head in the jar, of course. And she comes in and it's like the Secret Service. They're like, Miss Anderson. Miss Anderson is in the green room, so make sure we got somebody there. You know, and she finally comes in and I said, you know, well, I heard all the ruckus going on surrounding her. And she sits down and she's smiling and very pleasant. And we're all there and all the guys, the tech, you know, the geek guys are even falling apart. Hi. You know, and I said to her, I looked at her and I said, Miss Anderson, I don't know if you know this or not, but there's this tape going around. And everybody's like going, why did you say that? You know what it is? She was married to Rocker Tommy Lee. I used the obligatory appositive because you wouldn't know who he was if you didn't say Rocker Tommy Lee. And she was married to him, and that guy was like a joy boy, you know. There wasn't anything he wouldn't ingest or snort or... so I figured she would get that. She loved that.
That's the question, man.
That was my real answer.
Wow. For me, Ernest Borgnine. You know, a lot of celebrities come through. Johnny Depp has done SpongeBob. He was really cool and nice. And David Bowie has done SpongeBob. You know, he was nice. You know, he was nice enough. But Borgnine, man, Mermaid Man. You know, he died recently. He was in his 90s. But that guy, yeah, beautiful guy. Like, and that guy was just like so full of life, like kind of like an inspiration for like this is the kind of old guy I want to be. You know what I mean? So he, you know, he was in World War II. You know, studied acting on the GI Bill out of the army, like so many of those guys back then. You know, like manly actors for real manly. You know, and you know. Emmy winner, Oscar winner, you know, worked with, you know, did really famous movies like this Western, The Wild Bunch, directed by this guy Sam Peckinpah, that's a really famous director, and yeah, like iconic like movies. And Borgnine was just so cool, and like, you know, he was old when he started doing SpongeBob, you know, and just came in and was so, like, they were kind of treating him with kid gloves a little bit. Like, Mr. Boardnight, sorry to make you do the line again. Sorry to make you do this again. Steve Hillenburg was directing at that point, was kind of like apologetic about making it. And Boardnight was like, hey, it's your show. I want to give you the reading that you like. So I'll do it 10,000 times until you get what you want. And you're just like, wow, you don't really hear that much from, like I said, this guy's won an Academy Award. This guy got an Academy. He was really like a hard-working guy, and also was really grateful for SpongeBob because it made kids familiar with him. Like he said, kids don't know Marty. He says, I ask kids if they see Marty or Emperor of the North Pole. They don't know those movies. But I say that I've been on SpongeBob. I say, do you know Mermaid Man? And they say, yeah. So it's like, so it kind of made him relevant. Not that Ernest Borgnine was ever irrelevant, but it made him relevant to kids, to children again, and he just loved that. So I felt really proud to be a part of this thing that had made this amazing actor like in his own mind relevant again. So Borgnine was like the coolest. And Tim Conway that does Barnacle Boy, a famous comedian, he was on an old comedy show called The Carol Burnett Show when I was a kid. Yeah. He's really great too. And it was funny to watch them work together because Borgnine thought that Tim Conway was the funniest guy in the world. And he's probably right. Yeah. So Borgnine would just when they were doing Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, Tim Conway would crack a joke, and Borgnine would do that thing where he doesn't just laugh, but he looks around the room to make sure everybody else heard it. Like, is my little friend hilarious? Like comic book. You go, you wanted to make sure that you heard his hilarious best friend's joke, So both those guys just have a really warm place in my heart because they're celebrities that didn't act like celebrities. They could have been. They didn't have to be as nice as they were.
Early on, when we were first bringing, we had no plan. Unlike these guys who have worked with real productions, we were like 8 guys sitting in a room eating pizza and going, what do you think we ought to do?
Is this Space Ghost?
Yeah, Space Ghost, and we had terrific writers. One of them even left and went to Letterman, and it didn't last, but it was just the fact that he was weird enough to get in the door. And he actually got nominated for a piece that he wrote with the mailroom kid, Bob Borden. Remember Bob, who wore glasses like you? And they sent him out to 4 Points, and he actually got nominated for an Emmy for this piece that he wrote where Bob Borden does nothing throughout the show but come back after each break and eat a fresh, brand new burrito in each state. That was the bit, but anyway, before we had any interrupted at all,
George, I'm sorry.
The first 30 or so.
Right at time.
Zaki's football.
You know what? I would have stopped the story too.
I want you to.
You're right.
I just want to make sure you guys are right at time.
We're running out of time. I'll make it fast.
Okay.
You go and work the Knicks in that beard for a minute, and I'll finish up here. Now, so one of the earliest guests, I did like 30 interviews originally. Michael Stipe was one of our best ever guests from R.E.M., big rock band. Stipe comes in, they're telling everybody, no, don't ask him about, how much money he just got from Sony. He had just signed like for Monster, like $90 million or something Sony gave him.
Mere bag of shit.
Don't ask him about, anything personal. Don't ask him about this, don't ask him about. He sat down and he could not have been more charming and kind to everybody. We hear a voice come out of the ceiling. It's like, okay, we're rolling in here. And Michael goes, oh, wait, I've got to get my space glasses. And he pulls out this big pair of blue blockers like grandma wears after eye surgery. And then he was ready, and we just beat the guy senseless. They squeezed him down into the corner with a thing called Quantel. They put him in this tiny little block, and I said, hey, Michael, is that you in the corner? And he was like, yes, Space Ghost, it is. We beat the guy senseless, and at the end of the interview, he's a famous photographer. Nobody knew that except me, but he's had a brilliant photography career. The production assistant nearly fainted because he handed her one of his photos out of his dark room that he developed himself, washed off, and brought us all photos. So if that's not a guy who was just completely not aware of the kind of star he was, couldn't have cared less, wanted to engage with people, and could not have been lovelier, for my money, that's the people I want to meet.
Yeah. So cool.
Austin Cornea Bear Smith Brothers.
Mermaid Lady is in the question line. Hey, Mermaid Lady. Yeah, Ernest. Wow. I think Ernest Borgnine would have liked that. He liked the ladies.
I want to thank you guys so much, and I'm sorry for those that weren't able to ask questions, but these guys do have to get to some more other events here at the Tampa Bay Comic Con. Let's give a big, warm round of applause once again. George Lowe and Billy West. And for the rest of Comic Con, everyone.
I love you more, man. Come to the booth, I'll do anything you want, within reason.
Why, you little...
Hey everybody, please make sure you guys exit. We do have to do a full clearing of this room for the next panel, so please make your way to exit. You cannot stay and sit. You do have to make your way to the exit at this time. If you're wanting to stay for the next panel, you will have to go outside and get back in line for the next panel. Once again, if you are here